Hello, what's good, y'all? We are live right here on Upstage Rewind. I am Missy Chrissy, or of course, Chrislyn Lashington, in case you need to sign me any checks. We are here for a very great conversation with DJs in the soca industry. That's what we're diving in today. There has been a lot of conversation recently about how do we interact with DJs? You know, DJs are a very important stakeholder in the soca music industry, right? They interact with promoters, with artists, and so many others in what I'm going to call today the soca ecosystem. So make sure you share this video, whether live or recorded, you're watching it. Make sure you share it with someone who you know can definitely gain value from the conversation. So listen, before we dive into the conversation and I introduce our esteemed panelist for the night, I have to share with you just a little itsy bitsy witsy sneak peek of our Sailor Mask costumes for 2023. That is Upstage Mask. You know, we started as Upstage TV show and we branched into masquerade, traditional masquerade, reviving the traditional Sailor Mask in Grenada, and we're doing it again for Spice Mass 2023. What's exciting this year is that we're also doing kitties costumes for the very first time. And I can't wait to show you the costumes. So I'm just going to show you a quick little video teaser of what we're doing for Upstage Mass in 2023. And of course, to register, you can go to upstagemass.com. And of course, our kitties costumes will be launched by the weekend. All right.
Hey you, yes I'm talking to you. Oh yeah, yes I'm talking to you. Wow, I said the master from the engine. Master, trouble start from the engine. Master, trouble start. Mass up in the engine. Master, trouble start. Havoc in the engine. Master, trouble start. Who make the people run up and down? Run up and down. Run up and down. Run up and down. Who make them dash the powder? Drop the water. Flame on the bed.
Yes, indeed. That is a little teaser. And I'm just going to zoom in a little closer to the children's costumes because I know some people are very interested in those ones. So here goes. I'll just pop them up quickly on the screen for you. So we have one section for the children's costumes, and these are the junior sailors. They come in white and red or white and blue. And for girls as well as boys, this is the girl, super cute with Kang Kang and Ting. Yes, 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 yes. More Ting and Ting, Bo and Ting Ting Ting. All right, so if you're interested in any of these costumes for children, registration starts at the end of the week. So you can definitely get in with registering for that online. And this is just, of course, the money shot right here, right? Big up to all the models, big up to the committee on Upstage Mass. So we are here and we're ready to dive into the conversation. We're warming up. I see some people already in there. So thank you so much for joining us. I am about to introduce our panelists. I know them all and I've worked with them all. So it's good to have them here for this conversation. I am starting off with DJ Kingpin. Kingpin, what's going on? Introduce
I'm
yourself for the peoples.
Hi everybody. My name is DJ Kingpin. I guess you guys may know me from a little popular program back in the day, Who or What Frets You. Um, yeah, I'm just here to represent for the soca industry, and to see how my contributions can help bring the industry forward. You know.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. So that's DJ Kingpin. We also have DJ Scratch Master in the building. What's going on, Scratch? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
What is there left to say, Missy? What is
Hey!
there left to say? Anyway, I'm glad to be here tonight. Very interesting conversation we're gonna have tonight. Shed some light on some things that the average person would probably know or probably would not know. So looking forward to it.
I'm so happy you're with us. And also, our third panelist for the night is joining us by way of Trinidad and Tobago. I met this guy on a plane in 2017, I believe it was. Shamari is in the building. What's going on?
She actually remembers. She
I
actually
remember.
remembers. 2017, funny enough, that was my birthday on 2017. So you
Right.
met
So
me on my birthday in 2017.
was that the
Correct?
6th of August? The
Fourth.
4th of August. Okay.
Yeah. Heading to crop over. Heading to crop over.
We were heading to crop over, y'all, and we
Yeah.
met on the plane. Listen, tell us a little bit about yourself, Shamari, before we dive in.
Well, I won't be like scratch and say what is there left to say. But you know,
Cockiness.
Shamari Carroll, a lot of people would know me as Ready Mix DMT in some areas and some places. I've been doing this for quite a while now. I've had the opportunity and the experience to be able to tour a lot of the Caribbean islands and do some stuff in the US and other locations. And I have to say that over the last couple of years of just doing this and actually doing a podcast of my own, I'm really glad that we're having conversations like this because it's important for people to understand the ecosystem. So shouts to you and having us here tonight.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And it is important. I feel like we don't get enough times. We're always on stage, especially you all, always on stage performing, but we don't get to talk about those important things that matter to our craft. And it's good that Upstage TV show, we're here to create that conversation for Caribbean entrepreneurs, creative entrepreneurs like ourselves, as well as those in the Caribbean diaspora. So we have Kingpin, who is a DJ. We have Scratch Master, who is, of course, a DJ, sound mixing engineer, as well as radio program director. I hope I didn't leave out anything because you know the list goes on and on.
That's what I say. You know, I ain't want to stay, keep you whole night.
And
Got other
we
people to
also
talk
have
to.
we also have Shamari, who is a DJ announcer as well as a podcaster. So he's also creating a space for those conversations. So we have a very diverse mix of people representing not just Grenada, but also Trinidad and Tobago. Well, Scratch represents like 3 countries. So we are.
Only three? Only three? All right, okay. Let me be myself. I'll be here.
Oh, you had to go there. Oh, you had to go there, boy. Oh, Lord.
Scratch. Yo.
And big up to all those already. I see DJ Levi Chin plugged in and someone bigging up Kingpin here already. So big up yourselves. Thank you so much for locking in. Now let's start with just simply defining what a DJ is, right? So back in the day, you'd hear more so disc jockey. Now we just say DJ. What is a DJ? When can I say to myself, I can call myself a DJ? Who wants to take that one?
Scratch, you go first.
Boy, honestly, the ro- I don't even know how to begin to answer that one, huh? Because I'll tell you something. What a DJ it used to be is not really what a DJ is right now. And you have situations where persons get a laptop, they have some music, and they call themselves a DJ. Now, the thing about it, the term DJ means disc jockey, right? The function of a DJ, in my estimate, is to, especially if you're playing music, is to please the people that are in front of you, all right? And it's a very important role as well. You have to understand how your crowd interacts. You have to be able to read the crowd, know when to switch it up, know when to stay longer in something. You know, it there's a lot to it than just going and press play. And I mean, there's so many things I could go into with regards to the role and so on and so forth. But you know, it is someone who practically, basically, plays music for people and pleases the crowd that's in front of them and not make it about them alone.
Okay, nice. So the pleasing is important. So that's good to know.
Very.
Shamari, I mean, you've done radio as well as events. Is there a difference between playing DJing on a radio station versus DJing in an event?
I would say there's a difference. I think now you find that that difference is becoming a little bit spurious because you find that things that guys are doing in events they're doing it more on radio. Scratch would tell us from all of his experience, radio is a very formatted thing that is actually meant, as I tell people, we look at radio in terms of urban radio, if you want to call it that, as how we play music for people. But radio is really meant to give information to individuals. So yes, it's meant to entertain, but it's also meant to give information. So there's a particular structure when it comes down to radio, as opposed to a party where you're feeling off the energy of the crowd and you're feeling off the energy of the individuals there, and you providing, as Scratch said, that entertainment to them in that environment. For example, right now I'm doing a radio show on GMGT in New York, and we've been playing and toying around with different ways of how to represent Caribbean culture with the music, but at the same point in time, still keep it entertaining and still inform people through the music of what the music represents for certain places, certain islands, especially in a North American environment. That may be different from going to a party and, as Scratch said, knowing that these are the tunes that people want to hear, having the flexibility to introduce new music, but also understand that you are there to please people and you're there to entertain people as well.
Right. Well said. Kingpin, what does a DJ look like to you? Because I'm sure you're seeing different people when some people calling themselves DJs. Would you call everybody a DJ who has a laptop and has music?
In my humble opinion, no, because there's a level of understanding that comes with the DJing. Like Scratch said, being able to read the crowd and to please the crowd and all of that. Like you can say most guys, well, some of the guys that I will not call DJs will just be playing music just for themselves or just in their own world while doing it. But as a DJ, you try to immerse yourself in the crowd, to put yourself in their situation, to be able to say, okay, if I'm in the crowd, what kind of music, like would I want to move to, or would I want to dance to? Or you try to put yourself in a situation where you could say, boy, I come here, my woman tonight, and I wanna make a wine and grind and thing, but I'm on cutting music fast, eating in
Good
this,
luck
that.
with that.
Yeah.
So you try to put yourself in the shoes of the crowd, like first and foremost, to try and see how best you can relate to them through the music. So for me, a lot of guys don't really fit that description in this current dispensation. So
Mm.
Yeah,
um
but
I love
Missy,
that you said that. Uh-huh. Go ahead.
on another note, to reiterate what Kingpin said, it comes like any other profession. Just because I have a fast car doesn't mean I'm a rally driver. Just because I might like food and I could go to the grocery and shop means that I'm a top tier chef like a Gordon Ramsay. You know, so just because you have a laptop with music doesn't mean you're a DJ.
yeah.
That's my point.
Interesting. And how do I become a DJ? So, for instance, there are a lot of people who follow Upstage TV show and they're interested in becoming an entertainer, a dancer, a DJ. So, somebody sitting home right now and saying to themselves, I want to do this. Where do they even start?
Hmm. Well, um maybe I could go first, leave the more experienced guys after. When I just started, when I just started, Black Storm told me I had to make 20,000 hours playing music first if I can consider myself a DJ. That's on the lighter
What?
side of that's on the lighter side of things.
I've
But
heard of 10,000. I've never heard of
How about
20,000.
40 push up, but 20?
but on a more serious side of things, it was more or less, the elder head saying to me, listen, you need to learn the music, learn music. You need to do your research. You need to 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 try and dig into the years back and try and immerse yourself in those times. Bring yourself forward. Try and have a great depth of knowledge of the music, because at the end of the day, that's the only way you can become a DJ. Like what you would say, a fully professional DJ, to be able to play for anyone or any crowd. And in order to do that, you need to learn the music. You need to have the knowledge of the music to know, okay, in this situation with these sets of people, what do I play for them to enjoy themselves? And then in this situation, what do I play for these sets of people for them to enjoy themselves? So in order to do that, you need to have a vast, knowledge. Whether I say the vocabulary, your vocabulary of music needs to be wide. And the only way you
Right.
can do that is by spending time researching music and learning music.
I want
That's
to
a
add
good
to
point.
I want to add to what Kingpin said and just, don't deny understanding the technicalities of the craft. I think a lot of times guys get caught up in wanting to do the second thing first. They want to play in the event first, or they want to be able to please people on a live, or they want to be able to go to a party and play a song and record themselves on Instagram and then go and say, yeah, mash up the party. But if you think about the technicalities of proper mixing, proper mixing techniques, understanding where to blend certain tunes, why certain tunes don't work together, why some tunes blend perfectly together, is something that a lot of people take for granted. And it's just because a lot of times younger DJs or younger people looking at music just think is, well, you come and play this tune, that tune, that tune, and that tune. And it's not that simple. To me, it's about being able to tell stories through music. I saw Selector carrying the live, and he will tell you that for years. Like something that we've been talking about, good storytelling in music. And good storytelling in music takes into consideration what Kingpin said, knowing a diverse amount of music, but also understanding the technicalities of what to do and how to do it properly, like Scratchmaster.
Wow. I
Casual brushing the
wow.
shoulder there.
Yeah,
I like
listen,
it.
listen. Scratch is like that. The scratch inside here, scratch both enough DJs up and down the islands here, though. So
I love it. I love it.
I think
But we had a question there about, are there any certificates for DJs? Is there any type of formal schooling that someone can go to? Scratch, you want to take that?
I not I'm not sure, right?
Okay.
But what I could say to the question is, for those who want to be a DJ, I think first and foremost, like with anything, pinpoint, well, the different types of DJs, first of all, right? And we know this, you have those that into the sound system culture, like a Tony Matter and so on and so forth, that will not necessarily mix two records together. Then you have, those that more along the party lines. You have those that can only play one genre, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you just need to identify one that you idolize, that you're like, I want to be like this person. And you need to understand not only the practical side, but you also have to understand the theory side. And what young DJs need to really understand now, we live in an age with Instagram and so on, where everything is instant, like everything is now, 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 right? But understand, to be great takes time, and it takes patience, right? There's a DJ that all of us inside here know very well, and I know very well, by the name of Puffy. And I could tell you, I know him from when he just started to where he is now. And I could tell you something, it was not overnight for this brother. It was a lot of work. I remember when he was going to school, balancing the station and all of that. It requires a lot of dedication and a lot of time and a lot of patience. And sometimes this generation, that's something they don't have a lot of. They want everything
Microwave.
instant. It's like,
Quick.
so you have to be
Yeah.
patient with it.
I like the idea of patience. That's how you get better. That's how you work on something. As you mentioned, Puffy, and I know you've worked with Puffy, he's even credited you as a mentor. How would you say, because you mentioned looking at who you'd like to be? I don't necessarily like to follow that path because I'm kind of wayward. Um, so how do you differentiate yourself as, for instance, DJ Puffy? You've seen him and his rise. How do you look at someone and then say, I'm still going to carve my own path? Because you, for instance, Scratchmaster, you stand out as well. So how do you say, I'm carving my own path? What's that process like as well?
At the end of the day, when you find someone that you idolize and you want to mentor, in the beginning stages, you end up doing things the way they do it. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Um, I don't believe in reinventing the wheel. However, what I could say is that once you start emulating the good things, eventually you're going to find what your personality is and what would make you stand out or do things differently from the person you were looking up to does. But it has to start somewhere. You can't just go into this thing thinking you know everything, because you don't. And that's just a fact for the for for the younger ones that are inexperienced. You don't know everything, and it comes just like if it is your chef, you have to follow a certain recipe to make a certain meal. And then as you get more experience with the recipe, then you might say, okay, I might switch this out and try something different with it and make it your own. But you have to have a foundation. A house doesn't start from a roof, yeah, yeah, you don't start a house on the roof. You have to have a foundation for what you're doing.
All right, Pastor. Thank you so much.
Nah, man, I pastor you.
Nah, I mean the way you were just preaching there, I saw Kingpin nodding. You know what I mean? The congregation
No.
was
The
definitely
house and
checked
the
in.
Said amen.
You know what I mean? Hallelujah. All right. But I mean, you're spitting facts, and I appreciate it. Now, there is a difference, or you tell me if there's a difference between a hype man and a DJ. Can I call a hype man a DJ?
Oop.
Nope. So a hype man is just a hype man unless he DJs as well.
Correct. That is correct.
Correct. So when I met Shamari on the 6th of August, 2017, on a plane,
On the
4th of August, why I keep saying the 6th?
That's all
Probably
right.
something magnificent happened on the 6th. But on the 4th of August on the plane, he was telling me that he was playing at an event that I was also going to, was a cruise. I ended up on that cruise. Shamari was on the microphone, and I had a ball of a time because him as a mic man, yo, that man mashed up the place. So, Shamari, tell me, what does it take to be a good hype man as well?
Um, for me, I tell a lot of people who know my story that I learned to play music from watching guys like Scratch, watching guys in Trinidad and Tobago like Shotmaster J, and some of the other great DJs that we've had here. But I think that as a hype man, yes, you have to be articulate because people have to understand what you're saying. But I also tell people that I learned that part of my career actually from looking at Marshall Montano. I went to a Marshall Monday concert. I think it was all the way back in 2011 or 12, somewhere around there. And I looked at how Marshall basically controlled the stage and he interacted with individuals and he had eye contact and he was able to tell again a story through his performance. Every single song that he was going to bring in, he was able to give you some context for it so that when the song hit, you feel it from even before the band played it, right? And I think that a lot of DJs or a lot of hype men, I should say, who could go out there and be able to create that connectivity with the music and the audience is really what makes them unique. Now, to me, and I don't know if Scratch and Kingpin might agree with this, I also believe that there's a difference between a hype man and an announcer, right? An announcer could be a hype man, but it doesn't necessarily mean that a hype man could be an announcer because sometimes that hype man might not understand, as Scratch was saying, the theory and putting the theory into practice when you actually like go on a radio station or you have to do an ad or you need to do a podcast or something like this. So there are differences in between all of them, but I think my musical background, knowing how to play the music, has really helped me in taking that hype man position when it comes down to doing events.
Right. And Kingpin, how would you say that you maneuver that difference? Because you're on radio and you're also doing events. So how do you maneuver between those different types of announcing or hosting?
To be honest, it's a mindset. Um, when you're on the radio, like Shumari was saying earlier, you know that there's a format that you follow, and you try to stick to that, even though you put your little twist in it. But you know what your main purpose is, what your main goal is, and you stick to that with your little twist. So you keep it professional. You make sure that you articulate so that the listeners can understand what you're saying, and you keep it, because at that point you just basically accompanying the music, because the music is what's really leading the way when you're on radio. But when you're out in a party, then your energy has to transfer to the crowd, to the people around you. So that's when you would bring out the energy, the vibe, everything else, because that's a totally different environment. So the Kingpin on the radio might be well, will be a different Kingpin to the party Kingpin, because at the end of the day, you have to change your persona to match, the energy where you are. So on radio, you keep it calm, collective, cool, and do your thing. But when you're outside there now, you're feeding off of the energy of the crowd. You're giving them energy, you're getting back, and you're building on that. So it's more or less based on the environment, and you will
Right.
just adjust to suit. So it's all in the mind. It's how you condition your mind to be able to say, all right, on radio, so I hold it down in this way, I do that this way, because you have a lot of things that I could say in a party, but it's not suitable
Would
for
not
radio.
be, yeah, definitely. And Scratch, I
So
know you maneuver between different types because you do radio ads or announcing on radio, not yeah, radio ads, announcing. You also do events and you do different types of events. So, what would you say are some of the skill sets needed to be able to host in all those different environments?
Well, the first thing I'll say, when I was training with Chinese laundry earlier in my career, one of the things that they taught us is that the difference between an announcer and a hype man is simple. A hype man is an individual talking to thousands of people, right? An announcer is you talking to one person thousands of times,
Mm.
right? That's one of the biggest differences. Um, as for skill sets and handling, just repeat the question again.
Sure, no problem. I love that you said that because I all when you were training me to be on radio, I always remember that point because you told me that and I've always remembered it anytime I was on any radio station. And it's made a difference not just on radio but in other aspects because there are other types of hosting that I do and not everyone is just, to a bunch of people when you think about that, similar to what Kingpin was saying earlier on, when you think about what your audience is doing, what do they want to hear, what do they want to, and you do it that way. But what I was asking is, what are those skill sets? So, for instance, is it, I'm sure there's like voice control and inflecting your voice and your tone, like, are you going to be a little bit more sultry like this? Or it's like, yo, what going on? We on Upstage Rewind. So, Scratch, take it
I
away.
think with regards to that, like anything else, is time and place, right? You need to understand the audience that's in front of you, and you will know automatically how you need to adjust what you're doing. If you're emceeing or hosting for a lot of children, obviously you will, stoop down, so to speak, to get to their level to communicate, because it's all about communication. And let me tell you all something: shouting is not communicating. I saw Kerry put something, they were balling down the
All
place. I
over the
hate it.
place.
Yeah.
Shouting is not
It's not. It's
communicating,
not. It's not. It's not.
right?
So yeah, but I
And
hear real people shouting on the radio, eh?
no, well, you see it happen where even some announcers, they do two events, two, three events, then they come to work and have no voice. You know?
So then that also means poor control. For instance, I remember one year, I think it was the first carnival when I was working on Power FM with you, and I was doing a million things and also fetting. So, you're getting minimum sleep. And I remember feeling the difference in my voice. And I said to myself, I'm going to take voice lessons. Not necessarily for singing, because I enjoy it in the shower. And I think my shower heads would love for me to be better. But also because of hosting and it's the same type of training that you need. Stop laughing at me.
The shower
There is
laughing.
also control in speaking and there's a way to do it properly and a way not to.
Yeah.
I would also say that and this is a big thing for me in 2023. You have to be self-aware. As Scratch was saying a minute ago, people who go on radio and Scratch will probably remember this Chinese laundry calling them shouting robots, right? You're on radio with a lot of balling, but you have no content or context to what it is that you're saying. And you have to be kind of self-aware of the timing of what it is that you're doing, the audience, who is listening to you, your demographic. And that in many ways is going to impact your delivery, especially on radio, because as we've all understood, doing a radio show is really, really different from doing a live event or a party. And I think that if many people understood the technicalities behind that, especially upcoming DJs, it would make their career 10 times longer than it would be for the average person.
Very well
Yeah.
said, Shamari. Thank you so much for that. Now, before we segue a little bit more into the genre of soca that we all know and love, Scratch, you are a program director and you've been a program director for quite some time at multiple radio stations in multiple countries. What is that role? So, walk us through, of course, briefly, what do you actually do as a program director on a radio station?
Well, first and foremost, the program director is the one that typically dictates the sound of a station. And when I say sound, I don't mean from a technical perspective. I mean from a format perspective. You introduce different programs that people like. You also guide the on-air talent with regards to how they should be doing what they're doing, not necessarily um, trying to micromanage, but offer guidance in case they're going off course. And one of the more important things as well is the music, deciding what gets played, what gets priority in your rotation, because at the end of the day, you cannot play everything, right? You can't please everybody either, especially when you're a radio station that's operating with a niche market and a niche format. There's a reason that you would not hear certain songs on a gospel radio station because their format is that of gospel. And depending on the station you're with and the format that you're carrying, that is typically going to dictate which artists get played. So that typically is the role of a program
Mhm.
director.
So, as you said, in terms of determining the type of music, would you say there are some guidelines we can follow? Because some people may be wondering, why is it I don't ever hear my song on this radio station? They bad minding me, right? Could it be that maybe they are being bad minded, but also it's a quality issue with the song itself? Could it be the type of song, the lyrical content? What are some of those things that you look for as a program director in terms of saying this song will be played within our format, within our niche?
It boils down to instinct, and you're talking about soca music here. You're talking about all genres.
Well, we can narrow it down to soca since we are going to head in that direction.
You see, the thing about it is the harsh reality is that, as I said before, you can't play everything. If you have a playlist that you're operating to listen to in your vehicle, I doubt you're going to populate it with every single song that was released for Carnival because there are going to be some favorites that will get left. And that's just, they call it top 40 or top 20 for a reason because it's on top, right? Not because it's below. Now, the next thing is, well, you're laughing, boy.
The
It's
scratch farm.
Canadian.
The scratch
The
farm.
next thing is, no, hold on. This one is important. The next thing is, for every artist, a song is like a child. All right? You spend a lot of hours, you spend your money, all of that. I get that. But at the end of the day, some don't like to hear the truth. Some artists can't handle constructive criticism and they equate it to being bad mind and they're trying to hold me down and all of that. You know, now don't get me wrong, I don't get it right all the time. I ain't perfect, you know. No DJ gets it right all the time. But you need to have some form of quality control. Otherwise, all hell is gonna break loose on your station. You need to have
Now,
quality control.
I love that you mentioned quality control. And I know in the radio aspect, you have, of course, sponsors to think about, you have your audience to think about. Um, Kingpin, when you're out, say you're DJing for an event, do you have to go through that same quality control process, perhaps slightly different for playing at a fete?
Um, Not really. When you're in the fit mood, you play exactly what the people want to hear. I mean, there are going to be some instances where a particular song may not suit a particular crowd. So yes, there is a minute level of quality control. It won't be as great as radio, but there will be some because there are some persons that you may be playing for, and let's say, for example, a soca song might have, maybe some words that might sound a little bit, raw. Let's just use the term raw. You might be playing for some persons who might probably have strong Christian backgrounds, or that kind of thing, or persons who hold themselves high in society, and they may not associate themselves with, the raw music, but they would like to hear soca as well, or whatsoever. So then you try to tailor your set to fit those persons as well. So there will be, in some instances, a small amount of quality control to be done based on who you're playing for.
Right. So it
But
goes back to knowing a DJ, knowing the crowd.
yes,
That's
because
very
yeah,
it's cool because I do the same thing even with my dance fitness classes. There are times where, I may go and I'm like, I ain't a soca mood, I want to wind down the place. But then you gauge the crowd and you're like,
You
these
can't
are
keep up
not
everything.
I can't pull out the temptress. You understand? I can't pull out the I had to do the Vaughn, not the temptress.
So
So
kind
it's
of.
having that discernment. Shamari, is it different in Trinidad?
I think it's not different. I remember I used to work at 96.1, and I used to do this Sunday morning 9 to 12 show, and we had a format at that point in time where we understood it's 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning. People now waking up. I don't think, as much as it is that it might have been said in the song, people really don't want to hear gunman in Sheol at that time, though, right? We actually want to have something to build a crescendo to your day. You have to be self-aware of that. Remember, I spoke about self-awareness before. And it's the same thing that Kingpin was talking about, that sometimes when you go to an event, your self-awareness has to be so high that when you curate your DJ set, you want to ensure that it's a good representation, not just of you, but a good representation of the promoter that brought it to the event. And as you rightly said before, there may be sponsors in the event, there may be somebody in the event who didn't come to hear all that raw or explicit music. There may be people who might want to hear it, but you tailor what you're doing to be able to have a good balance, you know? So I don't think that there's any real difference in Trinidad. Obviously, depending on where the event that you go to, that will impact how you play. But at the same point in time, I guess all of us could agree that you have to have a particular level of self-awareness when it comes to the presentation of music, which is something that's also extremely important.
I think
Right.
another thing too to expand on that is for DJs to understand their role when they are booked. Meaning, if it is your time that you have to play, if it is a promoter hires you to play early, juggle as if it's early. If he hires you to play
Correct.
prime time, juggle as if it's prime time.
But is
You
this
Correct.
know
written somewhere? Is this
what?
written somewhere or is this just
Will it
an
be written somewhere? Some of them I
understanding?
read.
Eh? So yeah, but is someone going to jail if they are number two on the card and they play all the bangers?
Well, no,
Like
hold on.
back in
Hold
the
on. Hold on.
days, back in the
Hold on.
days,
Hold on. Hold on.
yes, you're
I'm a
allowed to
two eye like this. Hold on. You see
Yes,
the thing about it,
scratch
Missy.
hype.
No, 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 no. Listen. The thing about it is this, right? And you're a promoter yourself, Missy. When DJs work like that, and say your party starts 10 o'clock at night, and it go until 4 in the morning, and I reach in your event 10:30, there's no reason for me to hear Bungie Garlin Hard Fet at quarter past 10 or 10:30. It doesn't make sense, And again, it comes back to what I was saying earlier. You build. A
yeah.
party's supposed to be an experience where, because think about it. When you walk into an event, what's the first thing you do? Unless you end up there drunk, you're going to go to the bar, find your
Soak it up.
friends, mingle,
Yeah.
have a conversation, get a drink or something, and then, you build and reach a certain climax with the thing. But
Yeah, I
when
like what Kevin is saying here because he's saying there's some people who do events now that don't understand that role thing. And I agree in the sense that it's not, yes, I love the fact that there's that understanding among DJs, but I also believe that there has to be some communication from the promoter as to what type of vibe I would like to create.
Correct.
Well,
Maybe because I just love the build playing with energies and that type of thing. But
I,
I think it may be both people. What do you? Kingpin is like, I don't know. Tell me.
nah, you see, to be honest, Missy, the game has changed a lot. And I mean, just the other day, me and Kevin and I was having this conversation, right? I remember as a young DJ growing up, um, we used to go in party and things. Sometimes you go, like, you reach 10:30 in the party and you're supposed to play for 11 o'clock. And sometimes you playing 4 in the morning because all the other big DJs playing before you. And they say, nah, small man, you had to play last. You go spoil the party. But we used to take that as lessons to like see how them men and them playing, see the kind of music they playing, how they handling the crowd, and then we would say, okay, all right, so that's some kind of song we had to play, or we could put our own, our own little twist it, right? No, additionally, like Kevin was saying as well, like some promoters don't understand the role thing, and I think too it has to do with the ego of DJs,
Yes.
because for me personally, and anybody who knows me knows that I would play anywhere in a party. You put me to play first, I play first. You put me to play prime time, I play prime time. You put me to play last, I play last. I play my role. Me and this promoter had a bet. I won like $500, but I never took the money. I was doing an event for Carnival time, and I was the first DJ. Well, it's two DJs, but I was the first one. So I basically warm up and bring the party to a particular level, and then they had a intermission with a live band, I think it was. I came back and then I handed over to the other DJs to finish off the night. And he was like, yo, boy, just hear the men and them mashing up the place, boy. And I was like, because of what I did, that party going till 6 in the morning. And he was like,
exactly.
if that party go till 6 in the morning, I'm paying you $500. I was like, all right, love you, bet. Because I knew the foundation that I set as as the DJ there, that the DJ who came after me, them men and them had it all on a platter. So you just play your music, you make people enjoy themselves, and you go until morning. And so said, so done. When 6 o'clock he come and shake my hand and he was like, but I really had to get a $500. And I said, no, I don't want it. I just wanted you to understand that if a DJ plays his role, your party would benefit. No, as Shamari was saying earlier, I think with the Instagram and the Snapchat, well, and the TikTok and all the reels and stuff, we live in the moment of the hype. So some DJs will just come on wherever they play, whatever time, just to be able to play a popular song, or what we might call a top 10 song, to get a little forward from the crowd, to record it, and then you put that out. And then, I mean, it's good marketing, because when somebody, probably come on your page and they see it, they be like, yeah, boy, that man mashing on the place. But in reality, it's damaging to the construct of the party that you might be
Of
playing
course.
at.
And
You
the thing about it is too, when you don't play your role, easily confuse your crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Easily. You ever go to an event as a patron and you're there and it's like, and I keep saying this, it's not what you play, it's how you play it. And it's
Yeah.
also when you play it too. You know, I've seen many instances when DJs, the same ego thing you were talking about, like say the headliner DJ has to play, say like Private Ryan or even Puffy. I see this happen to Ryan plenty times. Ryan's supposed to go on at a certain time, and the DJ before wants to play hero and try to race out a set of songs before he has to come on. For what? Why? Why is that necessary? You know?
Yeah, I
You,
usually
you
see
know,
that ego problem screaming when DJs do that. But the question is, does that make you better as a DJ when a DJ before does something like that for you and you're on prime time?
I
and it,
think actually, I think it does. I mean, let me speak about the DJ coming on after the individual who has scratched said just decided to, as we like to say in Trinidad, rinse out tune before the DJ comes on. If you could navigate through that and still put together a really solid set of music, people will still remember what you did. They probably might not even remember the DJ that decided to play Hard Fet and Family and come home just before the next DJ come on, knowing that at the end of the day, the party has a flow. The guys were talking earlier about building the foundation. Kingpin was talking about building the foundation. And I tell every DJ that the starting DJ is probably one of the most important DJs on the
Yep.
bill, if not the most
anchor.
important DJ on the bill. Because you have to anchor the fete and anchor the party in a particular way. When the prime time DJ comes, you have already passed the baton in a particular way where people are primed and ready for the event. I always remember last year, for example, I did an event in Toronto for Caribana called Tsunami. And this event was like 4,000 people strong in Tsunami. And the promoter, DJ Busby, was like, all right, Shamara, I want you to go on, I think it was like second or third. And I made it a point at that point in time to record the video with me playing third and post it on Instagram. Because as Kingpin was saying, a lot of younger DJs or a lot of DJs would want to post themselves in the prime of the party to give the people the impression like, yo, I came here and I played for 10,000 people and I matched up the place. At that point in time, I played for 500 and people were appreciative of that to the point where when the next DJ came on, as Scratch was saying, you kind of hand off the baton in a particular way when now the party is starting to build and people have that anticipation of what is to come next, as opposed to starting a frenetic way and then sitting down like, yeah, well, after all the hype now, let me just cruise out for the next 2 hours, you know? So
But you
Yeah.
see,
the beginning
Shamari,
starts.
I like what
is
Barry's
separate.
saying here. He's saying when DJs have a good relationship with each other, the flow of the party is always better. Funny
that is
enough.
true.
That's
That
true.
is true.
Yeah, but why is that? Is it because there isn't competition happening? Because just like
Listen,
Sherilyn is saying here, she's like, you know, when somebody come and say, all right, let me start it now.
Let
And
me
I'm like, yo,
restart the dance.
I've been here for 3 hours, so we really
Now
just
you see
started.
that restart thing. If I should put it out there, you gotta remember this thing is all about mental. It's playing with people psyche, their mental.
they don't like that psyche to get play with. Don't restart nothing.
Restart
Continue.
button.
Restart what?
Play tune.
No, so it's kind of like, okay,
Are you
know what?
guilty of this,
I am.
Kingpin? Are you guilty
No,
of this?
I ain't guilty of that. I
Okay.
never go on a mic and say, let me restart the thing or let me reset the thing. But you
Let
have
me start
something
the
to
thing now.
say.
Let me start the
Start
thing
it
2
now.
o'clock in the morning, party going on since 8. We're going to start it now. So what's happening before?
Yeah, you're going to start now. So kind of like you're putting people on pause to say, okay, boy, let me see what that man really let me see what that man really going and do. You understand? But I mean,
But there's other ways of saying it without dissing the DJs that came before, because I find that it is a
And then
little
so-
disrespectful to the ones who were there before. It's like, well, what I was doing, I was working for my money. You're just, you know?
Exactly so. But yeah, it used to happen a lot back in the days. Like some of them guys, like it come from like a little song system culture kind of thing. Because there's a little history back in the days in a party. Sometimes we have 4 DJs and you have 4 different song systems in the dance hall.
True.
You know
So
about that?
one man come with the system and next man come with the system.
Wait.
Everybody got his system.
Hold on.
I
You know
can't
what?
see you, but paper.
Man say it like, you know, so the man spitting the straight.
Which party you been in that? No. When? I have never seen you there.
Scratch, listen to me.
Pampers.
Let's
He was
not
saying
go there.
Pampers.
You that song man, I that country man. Let's not do that.
Partner, I start playing music in country. Come again.
You are a tongue man, I'm a country man. I'm talking about my
I live
experience.
in
Country was always behind tongue. So when he stopped in tongue, he was still continuing in country. Right? But I'm just saying, those are some of the things that you find out. This man can play on this man's system, this man can play on everybody come with a thing. And then when this man done play, they say, all right, let me restart the thing now. No music to play for the day yet. Let me start fresh. Let me do something.
And then most of the time, they ain't really doing it. They need to restart
they
the
do that thing.
computer.
You understand? But it's just a kind of like a banter or just to make people feel all right. You know what? Superman come to save the day now, so expect great things.
It's just
So it's more or
beating
less like
themselves
a
up.
figure out
Affirmations that they should have said to themselves in the mirror before they got to the fete. Understood.
But another thing too, I kind of like it when DJs, like, suppose I have to go on next or so, and a guy might tell, all right, I'm playing 2 more, and that 2 end up being 10 or 15, it's like you know that it's like DJs. Some of them, not all. Some of them don't like to, like, if they find they have the party ripe or hype, they don't want to pass it on to you. They want to think. So me, I just become, I just be like, you all play,
Go through.
because you know what is end up
Yo.
happening when they start to dip and the
Yeah,
response
ready now.
starts to get not in
Ready
their
up.
favor. Then is when
Scratches
they
we
want
start the
you to come
party.
on.
Where
So
the
are
differentiation start
DJs
party.
sensitive people? I have this, I really want to know, are DJs generally very sensitive? Because this is sounding like DJs are sensitive and we need to be
Ego,
mindful of what we
ego,
say.
Some,
ego,
some.
Because you're saying
ego.
those things, and I know somebody who ain't talking to me to this day just because they didn't like the fact that when they played, it was still a building, like the anchor time in
Oh,
Beach Bum. And when they saw somebody else play, they were like, it's popping. And they got in their feelings.
Well,
well,
And they
again, as
agreed
a
to the time to
promoter,
play. It's not like if
as
they
a
didn't
promoter,
agree.
no, listen, as a promoter, promoters need to stop hiring their friends alone and hire DJs that suit the type of event that you're doing, you know,
pretend
and
DJ.
just stop looking for cheap talent alone, and hire though, because listen, the DJ, when you hire a DJ to play at your event, you have to understand, as a promoter, they are representing your brand. All right. And if you want people to come back, it's important that, you hire who you need to hire. It's like building a house. Looking for the cheapest carpenter is not gonna work in your favor.
Definitely. Now, we touched on it a little while ago in terms of the social media now, because let's be real, 10 years ago, we weren't where we're at now, where TikTok, Instagram, Facebook Reels are a big thing, and you could literally get Insta famous. Have these things changed the game in terms of DJs and fetting and soca at all? Kingpin, I see
Drastically.
Yep,
you're nodding like crazy.
yep,
Drastically.
Tell
yep.
me.
I mean, okay, I've only on the live, so I mean,
What that's
I
supposed to
think
mean?
no. I
Big up
mean,
DJ Pearless, come on.
I don't know
Big
if
up
you
Barry
might remember.
Matic.
I don't know if you might remember, but I can tell you how much social media has impacted the music distribution. It's crazy, right? So Thames has a song "Free Mind," right? Um, the piece that everybody knows is "This is the piece that you cannot find." Whatever down the road. I was in Kevin party playing that song, and I played a song from, well, from where you had to come in, whatever, ting. And it wasn't until, right, that song reached that particular point that everybody caught onto it and was singing. And I was like, yo, like the because every time you open like Instagram or TikTok or whatever it was, you see someone making a reel, but it will only be with that little portion of the song, right? That's one. Another thing too is that how things used to work before as DJs. We used to have to, buy with like a CD, buy with like a records and those kind of things. And then it would be us to play the new music first, right? But now where you have like other mediums like YouTube, well, like we say Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, and well, Apple Music, all those things, persons have a wide array of access to music in different ways. So sometimes we as DJs even get left in the back because a tune come out and he big and he popular amongst people, and sometimes we don't even know it because why? It's not really in our feed or in our line. Because how it used to be before, we will get the music and we play it. Because I remember I used to be excited to download a new rhythm, to burn it on a CD, to go and blast it out in a party first.
LimeWire and Beershare.
Well, even Aries and all those things. I mean, we had
Yep.
a little program called Soul Seek that we used to use where you could have share music and everybody had their folders and all those things. And
Oh,
Right.
yeah, nice.
I hear.
Right. Scratch had to carry some
I had
weight.
to buy the record and hope customs they see me when I coming through.
No, but
Download.
I'm just saying,
It
like
has changed.
in terms of the social media, it has changed the way how music is being distributed. So it sometimes poses a little challenge for a DJ that may not be able to be on top of social media 100%. So
That's
I mean,
interesting.
a man like me, so
Shamari.
no, a couple like nieces and nephews who always on the TikTok and always on the things. So I go say, hey, what's the new favorite song? No, what's the new song
But
that is?
then, but wouldn't you say that that is the same type of process? You have to, even years ago, you had to actively seek music, not so. It's just that because it's being distributed, perhaps even more direct to the consumer, you need to change how you seek out that music.
Not only that,
Shamari. Mm-hmm.
okay, in terms, well, yeah, let me just take all the talk.
No,
But
I want to hear Kingpin's point first, and then I'll chime in.
Yeah.
it's also the amount of music that is coming out now as compared to back then is
Correct.
it's a little bit different. It's I shouldn't say a little bit, I should say a lot. Because back then the music came out and then you had a little time for the music to breathe and all of that.
Mm.
But before a song come out now, bet your bottom dollar in about 2 hours, you have a next song and it's just like that down the road. So then even in that kind of way, sometimes you still one or two songs just slip through the cracks because you can't be on top of everything all the time.
Yeah, because I can simply subscribe to Voice and see exactly when he drops his song. And if I go to a fed the same time and my DJ hasn't played that song, I
Yeah,
could
like
be upset with the DJ, right? And
mhm.
that happens. Shamari, what's your thoughts on how social media has impacted music and DJing as a craft?
From the music perspective, I want to agree with something that Kingpin just said because I'm fortunate to be in a DJ group with a lot of guys from across the Caribbean and the world, to be example. And I remember recently one of the guys sent a folder in the DJ group, and it was a folder of music, and the name of the folder was the TikTok trending tunes. So everybody in the group was like, "What is the TikTok trending tunes?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, these are tunes that people making reels and stuff with on TikTok, and these are the ones that get the most plays." So they basically curated a folder of all the songs or the snippets of the songs that you hear on social media and sent it to DJs for everybody to learn. And this is from multiple genres of music. And as Kingpin was saying, right now the quantity I think is overtaken sometimes the listener, the average listener, because not every time you can be able to be on top of your game with every single song that comes out that might be trendy or might be popular in a particular region. So I agree with something that Scratch said before, where you have to be able to find your niche, find what your specialty is, and be able to master that craft. And if it is that you master that craft, then people would be able to appreciate the value that you bring through that craft. On the other side, I think there are a lot of DJs right now that have been able to master social media marketing over mastering the actual tenets of being a DJ. And I think you guys are a bit you guys laughing. You guys are laughing, but you know the truth. You guys are laughing, but you know the truth.
All
Yeah,
them out.
That's like what Kevin says here
and
too.
this is not, look, and this is I
Male
want to say this.
models.
I want to say this. I want to say this. This is not because I don't believe in the power of social media or I think that it should replace DJing, right? Or DJing should replace that. At the end of the day, these are tools that have been created in our lifetime right now to be able to utilize to market yourself and reach a wider audience. There are people who might be in Dubai that would have never heard Scratch play or never heard me play or whatever, but by seeing something on social media, I'm like, hey, yo, this Kingpin guy, I heard him on a live in Grenada playing XYZ and we want to book him. That was something that was unheard of years ago. But I think a lot of DJs have been able, or some DJs have been able now to master the ability of utilizing that social media ecosystem without really being able to master the craft properly. So when they come to an event, they can give you the energy that you saw or the live for probably 2 minutes. But if you put them to put a proper set over a particular period of time, probably with songs that they did not play in the live that they posted, they might catch the tail compared to somebody else. So at the end of the day, I think it's important that we need to really understand again the fundamentals of actually putting together proper DJ sets and use social media as something complementary to that and not the other way around.
I love
Another
it.
thing too.
Harnessing the power.
Another
Scratch.
thing too. you're not as a DJ, you're not going to be remembered for playing top 10 or top 20, right? Get that in mind. You're not if it is you play Byron Messiah, Taliban, or one of those songs. I mean, anybody could go and do that. You know, you have to dig deeper than that. Now, as to the social media aspect of things, you know, I come from an era when a rhythm come out today, we had to wait until another one. Now, the thing about that, what it allowed is for the music to marinate, so to speak, with your audience. And that is why you find a lot of songs like your Bob Marleys, your Michael Jacksons, they still resonate today. Now, this with TikTok and Instagram and so on, it has its good and it has its bad. It has its good in the sense that it's allowing people now to expose themselves to a much larger audience faster. But the problem with it is that you find a lot of these songs that trending on TikTok and Instagram, they trend for a short while and the songs have no longevity, you
Facts.
know? They have no longevity. And that's not me and it's a fact, you know. A lot of the stuff that would have been trending on TikTok, say just in January, how many of those songs you're seeing playing today as legit hits? Whereas like that she wrote uh a Bob Marley, you know, kind of thing. Those
Just
songs
a buyout
continue to
rhythm.
play. What's
Yeah.
that?
I say, guess I buyout rhythm there.
Yeah,
Shelf life short, Barry Matic is saying. And now, segueing into soca music, does that affect, you think, artists' expectations of the success of their music? Because maybe I drop it on my Instagram and me and my crew in a rum shop and we hyping, and it's vibes on social media, but they may not necessarily be getting the same energy on radio or at an event. So is social media changing the expectations of soca artists? Anyone can take this.
of course.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
yeah, it is because don't mistake views for your song necessarily connecting with an audience. Don't get
People
that
just
tied up. You know, and as for artists, views don't equate to talent either. You know, it doesn't necessarily go hand in hand. Now, with regards to soca and social media and so on and so forth, um, DJs still have that influence, so to speak, to make certain songs big. But at the end of the day, I've seen instances where artists get it wrong. You know, many times, maybe I've told you some of these stories, right? Some of them I can't really repeat here, where artists do a song and they're like, yeah, boy, this is a tune, this is a tune, this go in thing. And then it's the one that they released earlier up the season that end up, you know, taking the place. I never forget when Marshall did Like a Boss. Like a Boss was, Shamar, you in Trinidad, Like a Boss was released early in
Yep.
December
Yep.
or November that year. But he was pushing another song. But the people say, like a boss is the tune we like.
Yeah, and that's that run carnival. I was in Trinidad Carnival that year. That run carnival, eh?
Hmm.
It run it. So the question: do DJs get blamed for artists? Shamari, why are you
I,
laughing? I'm
well,
not
I,
even
answer is
done
yes,
with
yes.
I
the
know the
Blame
question
it
are
on
coming.
question.
I know the question are coming, but go ahead.
I know we waited how long? The DJs.
Oh my God.
If DJs get what?
Shamari, KRL.
Let's
Do
let's
DJs
have,
get
let's finish.
blamed for an artist song not doing as well as they would have expected?
Oh boy.
And is that the role of a DJ to promote an artist song?
The role of the DJ is to play good music. That's the
Thank you.
bottom line. The role of the DJ is to play
Thank
good
you.
music. It doesn't necessarily matter who the artist is. No. A caveat to that is the fact that you may be you may want to be a representative ambassador for your country, right? So if you are, for example, Trinidadian or Trinbagonian, I should say, and you go to play in Australia, I don't think they're really expecting you to come there to play a heavy set of Aussie music. You know, you're going there to represent the Caribbean, you're going to represent your country. That's why a lot of times when a DJ go on stage, you know, I'm from XYZ, this is the country I'm from. So I think the role of the DJ is to actually play good music. Um, I think at the end of the day, it is not really honest to say that, well, because the DJ didn't necessarily play a song, that is the responsible. That is why it's not responsible for getting bigger or as big as it should be. I've had the opportunity through one of my podcasts, which was the Creative Collective podcast, to talk to a lot of artists who would tell you at that point in time, look, I put in real work into this particular song and I'd real believe in that song. And for whatever reason, just didn't connect with the people. And you just go back to the drawing board and try again. There are some artists that let go certain songs because they realize that it's not properly representative of what it is they wanted at the point in time. There are a million reasons why songs don't necessarily connect in the way that it's supposed to. So I do think that the DJs do have a role in terms of putting the music out there, which also is a similar topic to this. But at the same point in time, we can't take the entire blame if it is that some of the music does not necessarily get out, or some songs don't get out in the way that an artist may expect it to.
Mr. Kingpin.
Kingpin.
Calling your name, boy.
Yeah,
Talk to
well,
me.
my name must call. But but I did have a discussion on that not too long ago. But I think really and truly there are a lot of things that will impact a song. Some things might cause a song to get big instantly. Some might cause a song to take its time to grow. So for example, like let's say I was given the example with Brother B when he released the song Delma. I mean that song blew up one time because it was about a current situation happening. So he sang that song, and things happen. But I also think that artists need to remember that even though they might say, boy, that song is the song that I want to go this way with. If the people decide, like Scrat said, that nah, I ain't feeling that song, or that song they're really making it, right? I mean, sometimes it might be in the studio and the producer say, boy, yeah, boy, that bad, or this bad, or your partners and they may bring them in the studio with you, and everybody vibes into it and they say, yeah, boy, Kingpin, that song go hit the road running. But then when it does come out to the average listener, they're like, what shit is that man singing there? You know? I mean, at the end of the day, it all boils down to what the people would like to consume, right? You could be the artist and put out whatever you want. I could be the DJ and you put out a song and I could shove it down people's throat. But if they don't like it, they just don't like it. And then when we as DJs try to play what the people like and your song is not included, then you take offense and you think that, okay, well, this man am responsible for my song not getting played. But I can say to you that when you have a good song, you would know as an artist. You would know because the results will be there. I
So
mean,
what
for
you're saying is that
example,
artists are even more sensitive than DJs.
um,
What?
That's a
yeah, I
different
mean,
life for a different
you
day.
listen. I mean, that is you. If we measure in our level and we say, okay, DJs are sensitive here, artists is like probably up
Some
different.
artists think
I
them is
mean,
God in it.
I mean, listen, you as a DJ to tell an artist, you know what, boy, that song ain't really making the cut. That is like the worst thing you could tell them.
I tell it
That's
like
like
What
a
happens
child.
when you
that's like
play a
telling them
song?
about their parents.
What happens when you play a song that the crowd does not like? So you have an hour long set. You're in you're in the one of the biggest. You're in Beach Bum on Carnival Sunday, right?
Right.
And you play a song that you thought was not a good song, but because oh god, the artist them or something, let me slide it in. What happens at that point in time?
Well, you should tell me because if you're in the crowd and take a shoops and be like, what's shipping this Kingpin playing there? Why you don't come out there with that? I mean, it's the harsh reality. I mean, and I said
And
it
then
in
it
my
affects your reputation
yes,
because you're the
yes it
one
does.
on stage.
Because
Well,
you're
for
the one
me,
risking your reputation for the artist's gratification. And that
I
should never
see.
be. And
Scratch.
listen,
Mm-hmm.
if I end up in a situation like that where an artist comes with a song that, in my estimate, I figure is not going to move the crowd, I'm going to make sure that the song I'm playing after that is going to move the crowd.
True
Correct.
that. Back up,
Facts.
back up,
Mm,
You know,
back up.
backup plan,
back it up.
backup
Right.
plan. I ain't going down so. Mm-mm.
Would you say that DJs are instrumental in making certain songs hits? And I'll give an example. We all know if Shortleg on a DJ Shortleg in Grenada, if he's on a card, you know you will be hearing Lava Man songs, right?
Um,
Um,
I don't know
so
if I really want to say that, but okay.
I mean, I ain't lying, right? This
I'm
has been the last few years. I can't speak for today, but this is, you know, where he would have
he's a
represented
DJ.
for, sorry.
I say he's Lava's official DJ, so I mean, if there's a little bias there, then
Right.
yeah.
So is that bias okay?
Um,
There's nothing wrong with it. Once it's doing the job of what it's supposed to do with the crowd in front of you, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
because I
You
don't think
know,
I ever hear him play a Lava that don't really make sense, or a
you
Lava
know.
that won't get the
Like
crowd.
he's still right. So he's still doing all the other things of a DJ, which is knowing the crowd, playing good music, etc. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
nothing wrong with that.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Now we have some comments here. Let's try to get them in the meantime. Quickly, Keon is saying artists need to blame the people more than the DJs. The people like Ish over good music. One example, Waki and Valine have sweet songs and a rhythm, but gravitating more to Boise Bush for people fever. It's tough in Grenada for good music to make it. Sad to say. Is it tough for good music to make it across the Caribbean?
No, listen.
No, it's not
Good
tough.
music is relative,
Ooh,
right?
relative.
No, he's
No, it's
correct.
no,
He's very correct.
it's relative. What I might like, you might not like. You know, it
Okay.
depends on taste. You know, so I've seen this same situation here where we have quote unquote what people would call good songs, but at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, you have to be honest with yourself, and on and part of the reason may not necessarily be because the song is a bad song, but your marketing team is probably letting you down. I've seen artists put in the work to push songs to get it out there, connecting with DJs, connecting with program directors of radio stations, and so on and so forth. Just because you do a song and you send out one email blast, that doesn't mean it's going to go viral. Not every song is a top striker, if you understand what I mean.
Right.
Not every song is. There are some songs that you have to do very little work and it's going to just take off, right?
Yeah, and if
And
you
I
want
mean,
to know, sorry for
Mhm.
cutting you there. If you want to know about how to make a hit song, you can definitely check our last episode of Upstage Rewind on Upstage TV show on YouTube and Facebook. We have an artist in the comments. Skinny Banton is here. Big up yourself. I also saw Valine in the comment. Not Valine, sorry. Elimas Gilbert, the inspector, was in the comments. Big up yourself. We have Skinny Banton here saying, where music is concerned, every DJ is important, but not every DJ has the knowledge of leadership, confidence, and discipline. A DJ is a leader, good or bad. Shamari, what would you say to that comment?
I agree to some extent to what he's saying. I do think that in some ways, DJs kind of lead in many examples in terms of how we play, what we play, how we inform individuals about the music. But we go back to a point that was just made earlier about the sensitivity of artists. I'm not saying that Skinny Banton is a sensitive guy because I know him personally. So it's not like I'm not saying it on that regard. But I think we have to start looking at why certain things don't happen on a broader scale. We could sit here and we could say, okay, well, DJs don't do this and DJs don't do that. But then we were just talking about the sensitivity of artists. And how is that sensitivity of the artists impacting the relationship that he has with his peers, with DJs, with people in the industry that would now hinder their ability for the music to get out more? Because remember, even though you're singing a song, you're also selling yourself. Think about it. If you go on a job interview to try to land the dream job that you want, You might be the most knowledgeable person about the job, but if it is that the interviewer doesn't believe in you as a person, when you sit down in that interview room, they're not going to hire, right? So I think at the same point in time, we in the industry have to kind of look at our egos and understand how that impacts your ability to be able to market yourself and your music. Granted, some of the DJs have to take a little bit of responsibility because you want to be knowledgeable and you need to be able to take the risk to be able to put music out there. As Scratch just say, if I play a song and that song not connecting, well, make sure and come back with something a monster hit right after to know that you'll be able to catch back people. But at the same point in time, I think the whole ecosystem is to blame sometimes for why certain songs or why it is that we're not able to take the music on a much more broader scale than it's supposed to be.
I love the comments, and I have to highlight Patrick here. Patrick is saying some Grenadian artists need to ask Temptress her marketing strategy because he walk in. Listen, okay, it was still proper English at the end there. It's working, but but I'm saying he walk in because I mean, in my regular life, um, in my day job, basically, I run a marketing and entertainment agency, Lashington Agency. And one of the things we do is assist artists and other types of companies with PR, communications, marketing. And there's so many aspects that DJs forget to do. Simple things like how you send your emails, right? Your branding for your
Oh
songs,
my
your
God.
artwork, you know, there's so many aspects that DJs forget, sorry, artists forget. And then again, I'm a performer. I've been a performer all my life. There's also something called performance art, right? Shamari talked about it earlier when he was thinking about like what he does to be a good announcer. Temptress has the performance art. Mr. Killer, you can't touch him when it comes to stage performance. And even that in itself is marketing on its own, how you present yourself on stage. So
Yeah.
I've listed a few, but fellas, what are some potential tips you can give to artists in terms of improving their relationship and their communications with you as a DJ?
I'll start with a simple one. I'll start with a simple one. Um, Recently, we had a post in Trinidad and Tobago where a guy was essentially calling out DJs who flying to different countries to try to get opportunities. And he thought that, you know, they're out there trying to post things for clout when at the end of the day, they're not really hired to do it. And the argument to that was if you invested in yourself, then you take whatever strategies necessary to put yourself with the people that you need to put yourself with to be able to forward your career. One of the things I used to tell some of my artist friends, especially like in St. Vincent, is that it was always important for those guys to find themselves in Trinidad and Tobago during Carnival. Because I used to be griped by the fact that these guys would have really good songs that would play during Vincy Mass. And when you were looking for them now coming down closer to Carnival, it might be a challenge for them to come down. And for me, making that investment in yourself and in your art and promoting yourself is extremely important to put yourself where the action is. I understand that for some people, financially, that might not be possible all the time. But through your ecosystem, through your network, through those that support you, if you can find a way to find yourself where the action is that you want to find your art going to, it's important for you to put yourself there, wherever that place might be.
And you're excellent at that, Shamari. You're excellent at networking. And I think that is so important. I saw some people in the comments, some DJs talk about networking as well. And networking with DJs, like, why not? You know, I had an artist come to me recently and say, oh, I need your help doing this. And I'm like, but you could simply just reach out to the DJs yourself and have a good rapport with those DJs because you need them.
And some artists are actually pretty good at that. Like I've always appreciated artists who I would have met before, as we like to say, the boss big. And to this day, even if it is that you've excelled as a DJ, or you might still be at the same level, or you might just be a normal person, they treat you like the same guy that they met years ago before they reach superstardom. Coming back from DC a couple of days ago, sitting on the airport, Irfan Alves is there with his dad, and Irfan just comes and we sat down and had a whole conversation, not just about music, but just about everything in life, like how life going, where it is going on in your life, etc., etc., etc. And it just shows that at the end of the day, you're a personable individual that understands that again, you're taking the ego out of it because at its core, yes, you have an artist name, but when you go into the airport and you show your passport, you are an individual, a person. And if it's strip away all that stardom, at the end of the day, people need to know you for who you are. And I think that's a mistake that a lot of people make in the industry itself.
I got you. Kingpin, what are some of those tips you would have for improving that DJ artist relationship? Because I firmly believe we all need each other in this ecosystem. DJs, promoters, artists, we need each other. So how can we improve that?
Um, well, if you're asking me, I think there needs to be a level of mutual respect and also um, the willingness to work together to network. I mean, I said it in my life before, and I'll say it again that you know I think artists don't recognize the role of DJs until it's a case where they want their song to play or a case where they're performing at an event that you're playing at and they need someone to play their music for them. Then they will notice, oh yeah, a DJ is important right now at this moment. I also think that there's a little bit of banter or competition between artists and DJs sometimes, and for whatever reason, I don't know why. Artists may have their let's say their feud with another artist, and if this DJ probably does play for this artist or this DJ and this artist have a good relationship, then you'll find some artists not wanting to really mingle with this DJ or link with this DJ because nah, that man and that man does go on and
But
me
can
and
we
that,
afford that? Can we afford that?
yeah, we
Mari, does
afford it.
this happen in Trinidad as well?
Um,
Trinidad is not a real
um,
place.
I want to be careful what I say here. Um, I would say that from looking at the industry, there are a lot of egos that impact relationships. I see Barry now saying feelings, feelings, feelings. He's correct. I think there is a case where there are a lot of egos that impact relationships, and you just ask yourself the question: could we afford this? We can't. Um, I advise everybody who is looking, when you get chance, at whatever point in time, go on YouTube and look for the interview that Bounty Killer had a couple of months ago, where they were speaking about why Afrobeats has taken off compared to like dancehall. And one of the things that he was saying is that the Afrobeat artists are about the culture. It's not about the beefing. It's about everybody on trying to get the music at a particular level. Even if artists may have one or two gripes with each other, they put that behind because at the end of the day, the music is the most important thing. Because if the music grows and the culture grows, then everybody gonna make money, right? So at the dollars and cents level, that is the most important thing. And I think for us within the region, especially, we have to kind of look at it and say, wait, will that ever happen? I can't really say because, as Barry said, there's a lot of feelings. There's a lot of feelings that impact the way that we actually put out soca as a product to the global market. But if we were able to deter from these things that continuously affect how we brand soca as our culture, I think we would find ourselves 10, 15, 20 paces further than we are right now.
I
And
love
I
that.
want to add another thing I wanted to add too though is that we have a couple artists that are what we will say maybe full-fledged artists, professionals. So they do the artists. They are artists for a living. Then let's put it that way. So whatever they eat, they drink, whatever comes from being an artist. Then you have some guys who just do music as a hobby. So then they don't really take it that serious as someone who is doing that for their bread and butter, right? Um, Also going back to the point of DJs and artists working together as well. Sometimes some of the artists don't really have a plan. You know,
True.
they just singing their music, and if he take off, he take off. If he ain't take off, he ain't take off. Whatever happens, happens. You know, that's their mentality. But when it
Yeah.
doesn't happen, then you find them totally in feelings. But when it happens, it's all well and good. You know, another thing too that we can notice is that sometimes, um, well, what I would like to see, like in terms of forming the relationship between the DJs and artists, like when you have artists live in Grenada to go even in the Caribbean islands or even up to the US or Canada, England, wherever, that a local DJ can go with them. Because sometimes what you find happening is that a man might be singing down here and he have a DJ that he brings with him everywhere he goes, and for some reason, maybe when you reach outside, they decide, okay, I will link with one of them DJs outside there to play for my set. And then what you find happening is that um, the DJ outside there don't really know the song like that, so he doesn't really know the forward points, so he doesn't mix the artist properly, and then you have this kind of
Uh,
miscommunication. The
do you think that's a
performance,
booking issue
if it's
sometimes? Do you think that's a booking issue? So, for instance, if I book you as an artist, I can only afford to bring you and not necessarily you and the DJ.
Well, I mean, Shamari was saying it earlier in terms of, artists, well, artists being able to, or DJs being able to invest in themselves and to make certain compromises and all of that. So, like I was saying, even if it's a case where, all right, my charge is 1,000 US for a gig, and I would like to bring my DJ with me. I am willing to say, all right, I'll take 500 US, and the other 500 US, I'll put that towards bringing my DJ.
I
Because
understand.
at the end of the day, you're trying to have a really good performance, and you're
Mm-hmm.
also trying to showcase some of the talent that Grenada has as well. Because there are a lot
Okay.
of in the Caribbean that we know, and we knew them starting out as DJs for artists. So
True.
sometimes
Understood.
they
Yeah.
come.
So you can also help the DJs. Scratch, what do you have to say about improving that relationship between artists and DJs and maybe even tips because you're also coming from a program director perspective?
Let's scratch producer tune. That is all.
No, 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 no,
Let's
no,
scratch,
no,
let's
no,
scratch
no, no, no,
producer
no, no,
tune and master tune.
no,
That's all.
no, no,
That's all.
not at all.
Let all
Not
everybody here just
Is
let
that
scratch
the way?
produce and master tune.
No, no, no. I need to make that abundantly clear to all artists. Not because I worked on your song means that I am going to play your song.
Before you answer that question, Scratch,
No,
before you answer
no,
that question,
That's
it
funny.
doesn't work like that.
will you do mixing and mastering on a song that you do not think is a good song?
Yeah, because at the
Money
end
has
of
to
the
be made.
day, no, no, listen, it's business. At the end of the
Right.
day, if they want it, they ain't paying me to like the song, they're paying to get song good,
Right.
you know. So no, I just I get the feeling that some artists believe that because I'm in the position that I'm in, that because I work on the material means that it's automatically gonna go into rotation. And that is not the case. You know, I work on your song because you want to get your stuff sounding a certain way. You want a certain standard, that will give you, the sound proper. But that would be unethical for me to operate that way. Also, okay, if it is on the song to play on the radio station, come by me, let me mix it and master it. No, I don't do that. I don't do that at all. I actually refused some artists' work because I got the vibe that they probably thinking that if I work on this, it's automatically gonna get played. I've actually refused work because of that. But
Understood.
as for the relationships thing, I know this Skinny Banton put in the comments, do like by the station. That was funny.
The what?
When he asked the question about the relationship, improve the relationship between DJs and artists, Skinny Banton on Facebook said, do like by the station. But but I think just to expand on what Kingpin said, artists need to not only know DJs when it's convenient to them.
Facts.
Don't only call my phone when it's carnival time.
Facts.
You know, you
Straight
know,
facts.
Don't act as if we the best of friends all of a sudden when June, July, and August comes around. You
Facts.
know, because you know Shamari.
Well,
If it's any time an artist is your friend, carnival time.
A
listen,
few months before.
listen.
Hey,
There are times weeks before I would not hear from certain people, and you know carnival time coming because around Christmas, hey, Merry Christmas, season's greetings, etc., etc., etc. January, everything going good with you and your family, etc., etc. And by the time the day after, well, I wanted to let you know I have a new tune come. It's like, oh, no, and there are
oh
artists
God, they try, they try. Oh
that
God.
not cool that have done this religiously every year and it never changes. So that's why I said I always appreciate those individuals who actually take time to be like genuine people and deal with you on that level, as opposed to, well, let me just do it when it's convenient to them, you know?
Wally Black say, Carnival time, them artists come like
What,
politicians
what
at
you
the
scared? What you scared?
campaign.
Because carnival time is campaign season. If you have a road march, you want to be the prime minister in carnival, so you have to try and campaign for the whole season. It's just like during like a political, as I said, a campaign season where you see the person walking around and hugging up everybody and saying, "Yeah,
Listen,
vote for me
babies,
because
yeah.
I will make you whatever better." And then after the win the election, you not see that person again until 4 or 5 years later. It's almost the same thing with some of these artists. They will talk to you, hey, Scratch, yo, Scratch, what going on, bro? Think. They're making sure and post you on social media too. So hanging with Scratch Master, hanging with this one, hanging with that one. And then Carnival time comes, yo, Scratch, this tune, I go and drop this tune tomorrow. Kingpin, I have this tune to drop. And then after Carnival comes and goes, Scratch or any other person might be like, hey, let me reach out to this guy to whatever. And all of a sudden your calls go unanswered and you can't hear
Listen,
from that person. You
don't pray
understand?
for that song to bust too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If it busts,
Then they don't know
as
it.
It,
in blow up,
that's it.
So what do
That's
you need as DJs from artists? Do you need dub plates? Do you need what for the artists here watching Upstage Rewind? What do you need from them?
good music.
That's all.
Okay.
That's
That's
all.
all.
Okay. Fair enough.
Good
yeah.
music.
Now, as we
Yeah, just good music and it will get played. It's
I
as
yeah.
simple as
respect
that.
and I respect for what we do as much as we respect them for what they do. I respect
That is
every single artist that puts in time and effort. Like I was telling somebody recently, it's not easy to go on stage and sing for people and perform for people because you are now being criticized from the shoes that you have on to if your song a little bit off key to if it is that well the song was hot last year but not hot this year, so why you come back with that song? That's a very challenging position to put yourself in the same regard as Kingpin saving up all the money that he has to save to go and buy the monitors that you're seeing behind him, to Scratch Master to go in and invest in the mixing and mastering programs that make some of these songs that you hear sound as good as they do. For me, who travels to different countries to be able to promote the music that we love to different ears that probably not accustomed hearing it, we invest the same level of time in our craft, so just as they do too. So for me, producing good music, give us good music, but at the same point in time, respect what we do just as much as we respect what they do.
What percentage of soca right now would you say is good music?
Which country?
Ooh,
Wow.
ooh, scratch. I need to shift in my
No,
seat.
no, 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 no. Which
Um,
country and which year?
currently in
Mm.
the places that you all live.
Mm.
Go ahead.
How much
Kingpin
is good
start.
music?
What percentage is good music? Kingpin, give me a number.
he had because I don't know the total amount of that is out right now.
You
So
trying
to
to be
give you a,
technical with me.
no to give you a percentage would maybe
I ask you
defeat.
for a number, you give me a story, Kingpin.
I would say about honestly about we bought in about 60%.
60%.
60
Shamari,
yeah
you're in Trinidad.
percent.
Um,
Again, another story now.
No, it's hard to put a number.
It's hard.
I
It's
know
hard to
it's
find a
very
number.
arbitrary.
Here's what I would say though. This is, I think, one of the issues we're having right now. My personal belief is all the islands that produce soca, some level of the soca that comes from them, their islands are good, right? I think that in Trinidad and Tobago, sometimes we're a little bit slower to get, not just get, but to appreciate the soca that comes from the other islands, and we wait for it to trend before we actually take it seriously. And right now, for those that probably know, the big thing in Trinidad right now is steam and zest, right? So soca kind of takes the back seat until they hear "Come Home, Hard Fet" or "Like Yourself," right? And to me, there are so many other songs outside of that that make sense to play, but not just from here, from the other islands as well. So I don't really want to put a percentage of how much of it is good. I just believe that we
You're
need
not
to.
giving me a number.
No, I'm not giving you a number.
Yes, give me a number.
I'm not gonna put myself in that position. Let's Scratch do that. Scratch can do that. I'm not gonna do that.
All I could say is that for all the music that you're hearing where soca is concerned, there's a good bit of it that you're not hearing,
Correct.
right? Because at the end of the day, filtering has to take place, whether you like it or not. When Beanie Man or Jay-Z or Drake drops an album, unless it's like 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying, where you could play every one of those 20-something tracks from beginning to end and everyone is a
Facts.
hit, not every song is going to be a hit for the season.
Facts.
That's just the reality, and artists need to be honest with themselves for that.
And sometimes,
But Kingpin, it's only
sometimes,
fair that I give you the chance to give your story, because both of them give me a number and they give me a story. So what's your story for the answer?
It's okay. I'll be the black sheep. It's okay. But
You mean
I
what
think
percentage right now from what I'm hearing?
Mm-hmm.
Grenada soca only or all soca in
Sure.
general for this year?
Give us Grenada soca and then give us Trinidad soca.
I want to hear this answer. This should be interesting.
I want to hear the answer too because I know what the hell I'm gonna answer. What I could, let me see.
I know.
She trying to get us in trouble here with this. I mean,
Let's see.
This is what I do.
This is a live. This is a recording. People like instant stuff. They will fast forward to what? An hour, 36 minutes.
Let me
And take
switch
my
the
song bite.
question. Let me flip the question.
Present us.
How can we improve soca? What do we need to do to improve the quality of songs? Kingpin, go right ahead.
Lord. Right, so put Kingpin in the hot seat again. What I was going to say before, right, is that we have to differentiate between good music and what's popular, because sometimes what's popular doesn't necessarily mean that it's good. It's just what people like. So
But
I
isn't what-
mean, no, I mean,
Trash?
I could have a Virgin up the road there that's singing Tata, and when you play it around my area or maybe countryside and you mash up the place, but it's really not a good song. Like you might
Not
not
a good
have
song for who?
any substance.
It's relative.
Well, all of that, yes, good music is relative.
It's
Right?
relative.
But I think, well, I know I get some lash for that. 138.11. I know they go fast forward the live to 138.11. But I think that for good music, I can give this example, right? Some of the producers that produce music, they don't understand what they're doing. A lot of them cannot play music. A lot of them don't understand music theory. And that, for one reason, causes the songs to not be able to climax and decline, to build up and to help the artists. Because some of the producers will just produce a beat and just rest it there and the artists come and sing. But they may not be able to tell the artist, all right, you need to sing this in this tone of voice, sing this in that tone of voice. You need to amp up, or you need to break down, or you need to find a way to have, different points of the song that could carry you from one place to the other. I mean, Most of the producers can't do that, and that's one of the reasons why we sometimes find there's a deficit in the quality of the music that we produce, right? For example, I mean, Scratch, you had to correct me if I'm wrong, but like almost every song that the Red Boys from Barbados produces is a hit. Almost every song. And the thing about it is that when you listen to the musical arrangements in their music, right? I mean, we talking Engine Room by
Yeah,
Olatunji, right? We talking um Big Girl Now by Patrice Roberts, Big People Party, Fama Napi. Um Patrice have an next one, Ola and Grey. And those kind of songs, all those songs came from the production of the Red Boys. Now when you listen to those songs, you get a lot of vibe from it. And another thing too is that songs that tend to have like live instruments or live drummings or whatever in it tend to catch people attention faster because we're the type of people that consume music by energy. So if the energy is there, we're going to consume it and we're going to eat it up really 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 fast. When there's a song and the energy is low, it takes long for people to catch on to it, right? For example, those bouillon beats, when you listen to them, it's a real wicked piece of drumming in the back there with one or two instruments, and they just make a rhythm. But the core of it, like for me as a musician growing up, you would hear everybody tell you, once you have the drum and the bass, that's all you need for people to get moving. And when you check it out, we have a lot of producers who just have a little keyboard and a computer, and they're just using, like instruments that are software generated and that don't really bring out the life in the music.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
then
hate
because
to hear
of
a fake
that,
pan on a song. As a
yes,
pan player, I personally hate to hear a fake pan on a song.
thank you.
Like, give me
Because
a
it
real
takes
pan, please.
yeah, because it takes away from the essence of the music. It does. And that causes the average person to not really enjoy it. Why it is that we don't do shows and things with just DJs alone, with just music that is produced. We have a live band. Because why? A live band would bring an element that a recorded song would not be able to produce at all. Because when you have a
Yeah,
drummer that can change the energy of the song, is a totally different atmosphere. And that's the same thing that happens when we produce music. If we don't have the energy in our productions by using, like live instruments and all those things to bring out that vibe, then it doesn't really make sense. It
yeah,
doesn't really
I
make
absolutely agree with you. Live music is so important. So, y'all, I think this is where we come to a close. We're wrapping it up. So I'll give you all a final word, just kind of thinking about all the things that we've talked about today. We've talked about, what it takes to be a DJ, the role, how to get there, working thousands of hours, knowing your craft, knowing your music, and also interacting with other parts of the ecosystem, the producers, the promoters, the artists. And also, we talked about the soca industry and how we can improve those relationships and also how we can improve the quality of soca music. So, I'll allow you to just kind of give your closing remarks, very brief, as we wrap up Upstage Rewind. Shamari, you're up first.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to thank you so much for having us on this discussion tonight. I think just by the fact that we've gone for an hour and 43 minutes, and a lot of
Uh-huh.
people who tuned in meant that a lot of people were very, they were very impressed by the discussion. So hats off to you for that. Two quick things I'll say. One of the things that we spoke about earlier was about the mentorship. I remember we were discussing the fact of if there are any DJ schools that offer certification for the craft. I know that there are a couple that exist in Trinidad right now, where people could learn to actually become a DJ. And there are individuals right now that are opening schools that allow that facility to happen. So that's one part. But I do also believe that having that mentorship is extremely important, not just to the DJs, but to artists as well. As Scratch was saying, a lot of times you might start doing something based on the skills that you learn from somebody else, but then that will turn into something organic that you will develop for yourself. So I think that we in the region, and I always want to encourage, especially DJs who have been out a long while, um, don't don't reach the point where it is that you can't impact a younger person who is trying to understand the craft and get better in it, because that is the only way that we'll have good succession planning for music going forward. And where the artists are concerned, as I said before, it's a dual relationship of respect between the DJs and the artists. Something that we didn't talk about, which I guess at some other point in time we might want to pick up, is the over reliance right now of artists on rhythms, because Kingpin was talking about Engine Room, and those songs that Patrice sang, all those songs that he mentioned were singles, right? These were songs that were produced for that particular artist to bring out the best of that artist. Not all the time that could be done in a rhythm with 25 songs in the rhythm, right? But at the same point in time, I think we have to just look at how we can make the craft better by tweaking all these different aspects that we spoke about today, and hopefully, in the long run, we could be a better community for that.
Thank you so much, Shamari. Kingpin, what do you have to say as we close?
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to come on this platform to have this discussion, because I think discussions like these are important. I mean, we always have the silent viewers and listeners who will take in everything that is being said, but they may not make themselves known. So big up yourselves. I mean, I'm just glad for this opportunity to be able to have this type of discussion, because I'm very passionate about the music that we have here in Grenada and that we're trying to send out to the world, because I think that we have the potential to make it big, like really, really, really big. So that's just me trying to do my part for the culture. So once again, say thanks.
Thank you so much, Kingpin. And of course, last but not least, the I say that
Master.
a long time.
You had to say that.
The Scratch Master. What do you have to say in closing?
Well, again, thanks, Missy, for having me on this panel discussion here tonight. To the artists, I know some of them in the live as well. Some of them probably will watch it later on. Do understand that it's not a case that DJs don't like all you. We do. We appreciate everything that you do, but
Sometimes.
man, come on. But I just think that
Shamari.
sometimes artists just need to be honest with themselves and don't just think that your crew that is hyping you is a reflection of how John Public feels about your work.
True.
All right. When you're in the studio and you're hyping up behind something, and then when you go on stage, it might translate different, it might hit different, So bear that in mind. As for the DJs, the younger DJs that probably listening, and I get so many DMs from DJs that, they want to be, do what I do or do what Puffy does and so on and so forth. One word, which is patience. Not everything is going to happen right away. And sometimes DJs need to understand, and even artists need to understand as well. Sometimes it probably isn't just your time just yet,
Hmm.
you know, and you have to be patient for that. Continue to put in the work, continue to be dedicated, continue to do the homework, continue to research on music, not only of today, but of yesterday, and so on and so forth. And eventually, your hard work will pay off. So that's my closing remarks for tonight.
And let's scratch master tune. Right?
Thank you.
No,
Thank you
boy,
for this closing remark. I love Shamari is like, when you get those responses in church, like, woo, you just keep
Yeah.
hearing all those
Let,
sound effects from Shamari.
let's scratch master tune. That's it. That's it.
it doesn't mean a thing.
I basically just quickly, I always tell people, Scratch Master has mastered tunes for artists. And you do a remix that's sometimes better than the original tune. I lie, I tell you truth, Scratch.
Well, that has happened.
Right.
That has happened.
That's right.
Oh my
That
gosh.
has happened. I mean, I know I've worked on a lot of songs, so
So
um,
many, you just can't recall.
yeah. No, well, the last major song that I did was Heartfelt.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
You
Just
just have to put that in there.
just slide it
You gotta
in
put that in there.
casually,
No, is it
casually.
true? It is it true.
You
But
know.
Yeah.
I want to say this quickly, yeah. And I've known Scratch for a while, from first hearing about Scratch Master and then meeting Scratch Master. And the truth of the fact is, I want to give you flowers because there are guys who contribute to the industry in a particular way that we wait until the long go on to say, yo, remember who was real bad at that point in time? Scratch Master, where he was real bad. And I say this not just as a fan of you as a DJ, but the way that you have influenced so many different countries and islands and so much different music that we hear that sometimes people have no knowledge that Scratch Master had some influence in it. So that is something as a testimony to hard work, dedication, and the level of excellence that you bring towards the industry. And that is something that if a lot of us, including myself, take and continue to apply to our lives in different ways. As you rightfully say, the race is not about a sprint, it's about a marathon. And you of yourself, over the period of time, have survived many marathons to still be contributing to the industry. So that is something that I think you need to get full credit for if nobody has ever told you that before.
I
Blup,
appreciate
blup,
that.
blup, 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 blup. I love that. I love that. We just made Scratch mad uncomfortable, and I love it.
Don't blush, don't blush.
Come on,
Look,
take it, man.
but this is how humble Scratch is. Like he would literally be like, "Boy, Jordan, you have to tell me that."
Yeah.
But I love it. It's Barry's like he ready to shed a tear. No, but it's good. Honesty, Scratch, big up your whole self. Um, Kingpin, thank you so much.
Yes,
Shamari, big up
pleasure.
yourself as well. Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much, guys, for dedicating this very long time. We've been on live for almost 2 hours, y'all, talking about this
Hmm.
topic. And it's crazy because there are still so many other ways that we can go in this conversation.
Of
So,
course,
yeah.
DJs and producers, invest in your tones, man. Don't do the
Hmm.
same beat for the past 5 years, man.
Please, and thanks.
That
Please.
is it. That is it.
Please and thanks.
Oh,
You
gosh.
you know who you are.
Tell them
Whoa.
men, Scratch,
Please and thanks.
tell them men, spend their money and buy the thing.
It's not a matter of spend, it's a matter of investing in your craft, as with anything else.
Yeah,
But
but
anyway, we're
I
wrapping
mean,
up.
yeah.
Kingpin, don't start. We
Scratch, you
wrap it
sure?
up. We
I
wrap it
mean,
up.
you sure, Scratch? You sounding comfortable right now.
No, no, we wrap it up. We
You
wrap it
get
up.
some
Now we got
flowers, and that flowers was gas. Like
When,
you're ready
when
to
you
go.
get started, it's
now we
one
got
thing
to
from
progress further.
there. Hey.
Mm.
But indeed, we can definitely come back at some other time and talk more about something else, perhaps, as it relates to the music industry. But big up y'all whole selves. Thank you so much for indulging us on Upstage Rewind. Y'all, this was Kingpin, Shamari, Scratch Master, and
Wally
of
Black,
course,
we need to
Missy
talk about
Chrissy.
that comment that we won't post now. We need to talk about that comment.
What is that?
No, don't post it. Don't post it. Don't
Okay.
post it. Don't post it. Don't post it.
Okay. But y'all can always follow the conversation on Upstage TV show, Facebook, as well as YouTube. And also big up to the listeners on Soca 101.1 FM, Live Wire. They are also listening there as well. So big up y'all whole selves as well. All right, y'all.
All right.
Thank you so much, fellas.
Good.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, y'all, for being on Upstage Rewind. Now, remember, we are heading one place and one place only for Carnival Sunday, and that is a Beach Bum. That is right. Grandma's Craft and Spice Market from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. we there. And you can get your tickets now on gotofed.com at Grenadian Optical, as well as Eventbrite. Okay, we have Cash Bar, drinks inclusive, as well as bottle service tickets. So you have it based on your budget. If you want to save and get those affordable tickets, they start at 60 EC. So you can get those now, as early as possible. All right. And also, of course, we are playing Mass with Upstage. We are bringing Sailor Mass back again for Spice Mass 2023. And this year, we are bringing the Kitties Carnival costumes. So excited for it. We've just shown you the costumes earlier. I will end by showing you the costumes again. And of course, registration for the Kitties Carnival starts this weekend on our website, upstagemass.com. Registration for adults have already opened. So you can go over to upstagemass.com to sign up. You can pay online or opt to pay in person. So feel free to hit us up on WhatsApp. The number is 405-2255. That's 473-405-2255 to get in touch and get more information. Or, of course, follow Upstage TV show, follow Upstage Mass, and we got you covered. I'm Missy Chrissy. Thank you so much for joining me. You can hit me up on Instagram. Follow me there, msy.chrissy, and we'll continue these conversations right here on Upstage Rewind. I'll leave you with these costumes for Carnival.
Carnival now, let's go sailing. On the road now, let's go sailing. All the man know them good captain. Jump in a van, hang on, bada boom now. They got them like some sailing ship. Look out for when them boom start to swing.
Hey you, yes I'm talking to you. Oh yeah, yes I'm talking to you. Whoa, I said the master from the engine.